So come down the runway fast. Wow, that's rock solid. Power it off. I'm just gonna let it tail slide. Yeah, that was a nice one. Easing back on the stick. Get down low. Come right at you here, Steve. Peel away. Woo! That was a crosswind, man.
Yeah, okay.
Caught me here. Yeehaw! I'm at about a quarter throttle. Right on that center line. Look at that, baby. Hey folks, Rich here at RC Informer. Today I have a really nice airplane to show you today. This is coming from Horizon Hobby and their E-flite lineup, and this is their F-4 PHANTOM II 80mm EDF jet. Now this has been dubbed as the best handling F-4 Phantom around, and I'm going to show you an unboxing video here, show you all the parts, then we'll do a build of it, we'll get it together in a separate video, and then we'll do a flight demo, and we'll see if all this stuff holds true. Now this is a really nice plane I've seen around. I just haven't flown one yet. It has AS3X, which is their flight stabilization system, and best of all, it's a 6-cell powered monster, and I'm going to be showing you this thing flying on the Smart Technology batteries, the 5000, 50, and 30C, and to give you guys a little gouge on it, here's the weight that I weighed just now: 702 grams on the 50C, 668 on the 30C, and then I also here, a plane I'll be demoing this, a battery I'll be putting here too, is their 7000 30C pack. That weighs in at a whopping 937, but apparently this is a good battery, lets you fly for a long time, but we'll see, and I'll show you that in the flight demos and all the other videos. In the right-hand corner of your screen, folks, like all my videos are, there's a little white eye. If you click on that right now, even, you'll get a drop-down menu, and I'm going to show you all the other videos in the series, flight demo, assembly, and so forth. Apparently this assembles with just a few screws, so I'm going to show you all that. It says easier to fly, incredible performance, authentic decals, and some functional extras. So let's go ahead and get the box up here, and you can kind of see this is how it comes. This is how it's packaged. I went ahead and took a knife, cut the tape there so I can get this out of the box for you quickly. But before we do that, I do want to get into on some of the specs on this thing. There is, I think, a plug and play, and I'm going to show you the bind and fly basic and all of the things that come with that. And there's the model numbers or the part numbers for them and so forth. So if you do guys want to get one of these, I will put the links below for the airplane and the batteries that do work with it that I just showed you. Those will be in the description below the video, also probably in the comments section. And if you guys do click on a link, put it in your cart, and you buy one, we do get a small commission for it, and we do appreciate you guys supporting our channel. It really helps out a lot. Motor, let's talk about what's in this thing. Brushless in-runner motor, 80mm 12-bladed fan. That's a pre-installed 100-amp brushless ESC installed. 7 micro metal geared servos, those are installed as well. Receiver comes with the AS3 with SAFE technology installed. That's really nice to have. Plane flies great with that. Transmitter is a full 6 to 7 channel, actually minimum of six channels. 7 channel, you need a DSM-X or DSM-2 compatible, and that's required. Battery, again, 4 to 5000, 30C pack, that's required. Those are the required items. And a 6-cell charger as well. So let me flip this over here to the opposite side. Let me flip it around. We'll go over a couple more specs on the box just so you have them. This is just to kind of really be thorough with for you guys. Here's the specs on the size of the airplane: 53.7 inches or 13 to 1400 millimeter length, so it's a good size. You can see the wingspan right there, 35 inches, 910 millimeters, and you're looking at looks like about 6 to 7 pounds of weight for the thing. And then it talks about all the things that you need. It comes with a SPEKTRUM DSM-X receiver, optional SAFE Select, which I'll set up even though I don't need it. It has the AS3X gyro. It does talk about that it's a 6-cell powered airplane here, and then all the other features and so forth. I don't want to go into everything. Functional, well, maybe I will, what the heck. 2-piece wing with hands-free servo connection, which I'll show you that. Functional electric retracts with shock absorbing struts. It does have nice landing gear on there. And functional LED landing lights and nav lights. Fully functioning stab and functioning flaps. a 12 blade fan for outstanding performance and so forth. So we're going to get into all that. There's a nice picture of it on the box flying at you with the gear coming up or down, it looks like. And then just a quick thing about AS3X and SAFE. I've never really been a big fan of flight stabilizers, but since I did the E-flite A10 video, which I'll probably put a link to that up here you guys can check out, and that's the first time using a flight stabilizer. It is awesome. It makes the plane really easy to fly. This plane probably doesn't need it, but it's installed. We're going to go with it. And then it also has SAFE technology, which you can assign to a switch. You can flip that switch during flight, and it limits the pitch and it limits the roll of the airplane, and it also is self-leveling. So it makes it gives you a little bit of stabilization if you need it. You know, maybe one day you're flying along, you're a pro, you get a bug in your eye, you lose sight of the airplane, you can hit your safe switch and it'll level the airplane for you. Or if you're really learning on a jet, for example, you know, so you're new to the airplane, it keeps the airplane level, and it's a really actually pretty nice thing to have. So anyway, with that, folks, I think we've talked enough about the specs on the airplane. Let's get into the box here. And again, I've already pulled this thing, pulled some of the tape off of this so we can get into it. And I'm going to just go with it as is here, and I'm just going to pull all these things out of here, and we'll lay everything out. There's one of your wing panels, really nicely painted. Real nice overall. Let's get the other wing out. We'll just unbox everything. We'll lay that wing out there. We'll go ahead and get these dividers out of here, these separators. No, what do you call it? There's no bags holding any of this stuff. There is a little parts bag here with some screws and a bind plug they give you, which is nice. Since the receiver's in there, they already give you the bind plug, but they do a really nice job packaging at Horizon. You can see it doesn't need any baggies around everything. It's all pretty solid. Here's your spar, and we'll get your get the horizontal. There's your horizontal stabilizers out of there. We'll pull those out. We'll get the nose cone out here. We'll pull that out. It looks nicely painted. So we'll get into detail on all of this stuff. Your vertical stabilizer. This is supposed to be a fast build airplane, folks, just some screws. And obviously this bag kind of proves it to you. There's only a couple screws to get this together. I don't think there's any gluing with this. I think it's pretty much just kind of just put together and go. Just screw it all together. Some of the missiles on there, real nice. And again, we'll look at those closer. We'll get a big drop tank for the center probably. Instructions, or wing drop tanks probably. There's another one right there. And then the main piece itself, the fuselage. Let me see if I can reach over here. I haven't had any of this out or really seen this stuff up close yet, but let's see if I can get this out of here in one piece. There we go. Got it all out of there. That looks really nice. So give me a second, folks. We'll lay this all out and we'll take a look at each of the individual parts. Now that we got all the parts laid out, you can see how simple of an airplane this is, and now that I'm looking at it, I can tell this is just going to go together really fast. There's only a few screws to put it together. Starting here at the top is your really nicely painted main fuselage. Your tail servo is installed right down in there for your horizontal, for your elevators, your flying tail. Your 80mm fan with speed controller, 100 amp. Your nose gear is mounted in there with the lights on it. AS3X flight stabilized receivers already installed in there. You got your two main wing panels with your ailerons and flap servos, rods, horns, linkages, main landing gear, all installed, ready to go. And they're wireless, just plug in. You just plug the wing in and put two screws in, and they're both on there. Your main spar is running right here through here. It's a fiberglass spar, a real thick spar. You got your tail surfaces, your horizontal stabs, each with one screw, and they're installed. Your vertical stabilizer and rudder, that takes, I think, 2 or 3 or 4 screws. I'll show you that. It's real simple to put together. Your magnetic nose cone, again, that just goes right on the front. You got your ordnance and drop tanks that just latch on and slide on. And you're done with this, folks. I mean, this is a really fast, out-of-the-box airplane. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and start showing you everything. This is really nice. I'm impressed. Horizon and E-flite have made a really nice plane with this. Fastest, without a doubt, fastest out of the box. I mean, there's just no doubt. If you want an EDF jet where you want to get it quickly up and going and have it hopefully fly well, which apparently this thing really does, this is probably the way to go. And you can see the detail on this overall. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and put the tail down real quick, and I'm going to show you that magnetic nose and how that really just goes right on. You just push it on there, and it will just Due to the attraction of the magnets, it will go right on and it's in position, and that is it, folks. Nice hard surface on that nose cone all the way around. But check out the detail, the fit and the finish. These are stickers you can see they put on there. The fit and finish is outstanding. Look at that. They're all stickers. Often you'll see decals, sometimes you'll see stickers. But the sticker application, in fact, I'm fumbling around with this thing. The sticker application is super, super nice here. As you can see, you got the USS Coral Sea decal sticker on there. Again, stickers, stickers, stickers. Man, that's really nice how they put that on. I'll try and get you all this in one shot by holding it here. Just very slick, very nice detail, very nice quality all around. You can see the cockpit and the pilot in there with some ventilation holes. You can see a little hole in there just to let some heat out to help prevent or reduce the blistering that can go on inside the canopy due to the heat of being outdoors. And then on the underside here, you can see your nose gear is in here with your landing lights. This thing has real nice lights all around it. Your doors, everything's all closed up and kind of ready to go. I'll probably extend the gear for you towards the end of the video so we can take a look at that. These are missiles that are pre-installed. They're part of the fuselage. So those probably might be able to get yanked out and removed. I'm not sure if they're part of the mold or not, but those are already on there. You've got big cheater hole underneath. Look at that. Your speed controller is in there with louvers. You can kind of see way down in there. Let's see if I can get in there. You can kind of see, yep, there's the speed controller kind of hiding down in there. There it is. All those louvers are hiding it, and they're also keeping it cool. Okay, so air is allowed to come in through here. It gets in through here, maybe even some intake cooling. Yeah, comes in through the intakes. It gets in over those louvers, cools the speed controller, and then your fan is way in there. So now running along the side, here's your slot right here for your fiberglass spar. That's right down in there. That's what plugs, goes all the way through the fuselage, and then the wings plug in. And then you've got two screws. One's going to go right in there. You've got your brass threaded screws, metal screws. There's another one there. And then there's your connections. Again, no wires, folks. All you do is you plug your wings right into this thing, and they plug right into these three receivers. And already your aileron, flaps, landing gear, wing lights are already plugged in and you're ready to go. So you just can't beat the simplicity of that. So this is your fan hatch right here. You got two screws to pull this out. That accesses your 80mm fan. And also you have little latches right here, and that's for your center tank. In fact, there's a center tank and there's two wing tanks. One of them, the box here was kind of the gift that kept on giving because these tanks kept coming out. There's actually 3 drop tanks that you could take on and off at your pleasure, depending on if you want them on the airplane or not. And then as we look all the way down here, you can see down in there into the fan of the 80mm. You could see the in-runner housing in there for the fan. In fact, let me see if it'll let me, might let me zoom in on that. There you go, there's your in-runner. Bearing and everything. Nice quality, 12-blade fan. Super nice duct work they've done with this, and nice detail on those engine nozzles. Really nice. A little extra bit of glue here. That kind of happens sometimes. I'll probably pick that away. Just sort of peel it away. If you see stuff like that, usually that just comes right off. Just a little bit of extra glue from expansion during the curing process of the glue. And then here's your simulated tail hook. This is all foam just to keep it light. And then your tail, really nice here. This is your, I don't know exactly what this is on the real airplane. That might be a fuel dump probe or something. I really don't know what that's for. Or probably drag chute. I know this thing has a drag chute on it, the full scale Phantoms did, so maybe that's probably that mechanism. And then here's your beautiful mechanism here for your horizontal stabilizer, for your flying tail, because this has a full flying stab. And they have a very nice robust horn on there. I'm glad to see that it's all the way on the inner hole. That should give us the right amount of travel for a Phantom. And then you've got your really nice aluminum single screw, folks, your horizontal stabilizers, each of those. This is how easy this is to put together. You're going to plug that into one side, put one screw through it from the underside, I believe. Put the other one on, one screw through the underside, your tail's on, and it's done. Your vertical, same thing. You've got one connection. You see your vertical stabilizer right down there. One connection for your rudder, and that thing's going to slide right down on there. And it looks like we've got, it looks like we got metal threads probably on this end, so there's going to be a single screw going through here. There's probably going to be 1 or 2 screws going through, 2 screws going through here. You see the metal threads down in there. Your vertical stabilizer is installed now. So that's how easy of a thing this is. Looks like 4 screws for the wing. It looks like 3 for the vertical. and 2 for the elevator, and the major assembly of this thing is done. In fact, I don't know if I'm going to really need a build or an assembly guide for this, but just check out that detail. Look how nice those decals are and how nicely they are applied and how nice the paint job is. They did really nice, really good job on this. So let's go ahead and actually let me see if I can get into the scoop. All right, there we go. I'm down under the intake. Let's take a look in there. You can see the fan from the other side. That thing's deep in there. Let's see if it'll focus. Yeah, probably not. So, but anyway, that's your fan and your intake. Lots of intake air between the lower and the 2 mains. This fan should actually breathe very well. So here's your canopy latch. Push that back, it comes off. There's a really nice ramp right here. You can see that they put a round curved edge, which a lot of places are starting to do that. Horizon's doing a nice job. So you can just push down, canopy's latched, and you are good to go. So let's pull this off. There's ventilation holes again to prevent that inside canopy from blistering in there. And you can see the inside detail here. And yes, an EC5 connector. So yes, I don't have to change anything in here. And then you've got Velcro down here. They leave you Velcro for your battery, so you can Velcro, peel that off. You can tape it to your battery and Velcro your battery down. I may just put my shelf liner down there. That's kind of my standard op because I like to do that. My batteries are done that way. So your AS3X receiver is in here. And that's already secured, and you just want to leave that alone and not mess with it. You got one antenna here. I'll probably put a hole through here so this is running straight. The other antenna is up here. Probably during shipping the tape kind of came off and it got unstraightened, but I'll probably straighten that out and secure it front to back. I'll have this one go side to side so they're 90 degrees to each other. That helps to minimize signal loss. And it looks like this is your nose gear light controller board or retract controller board of some kind. And that's it. Nice straps for your battery, and you see how clean this thing is. They did a nice job, and they also, one thing I'm noticing here is they put the battery strap slots like all the way against the wall, this wall and this wall, so you can get the widest hopefully possible battery in there, and hopefully that 7,000 pack is going to fit in here, and we'll probably fly all day with that. But canopy goes back on. You see how nice that is, folks. Just a stellar fuselage all the way around. Let me put that back down. I'll just leave the nose cone on there since I got it on there. And I may just do an assembly of this while we're talking about this right after showing you the parts here, because this is pretty simple. But wing panel, really nice plastic doubler right here where your wing screw goes in. There's your pass-through for your spar. Your spar is going to go right in again. That spar goes through the fuselage. Each wing plugs in. You're good to go. And then there's your connectors. Wireless, I call them wireless wing connectors, but single point wing connectors, whatever you want to call it. But basically you just install your wing. All your connections are already made for your ailerons, your flaps, your landing gear, and your wing tip light that you can see right there. And that's going to be a super bright Cree light there. So you've got your hard point attachments here and here for your ordnance. I think there's just the 2 under the wing. And then you've got your really nice wheel here. It looks like an FMS wheel to me. I won't mince words there. It's an FMS wheel on ball bearings. Beautiful wheel. Nice ball links all the way around. Nice submerged center style hinges right there. So you can see everything's hinged real nice without the gaps. You've got really nice horns all the way around. You can see, looks like there's a spar slot, I believe, running, yeah, right through here. That's your main spar slot. And then you've got some others that are jigged all the way in here, spars, so it'll be rigid, and so forth. But a real nice decal application. Again, rods, horns, linkages installed. These babies are ready to go. The wing looks nice and straight and true. Finish looks beautiful. You can kind of get in on that, and you can see how nice that is. It's very smooth and a really nice finish. Nice paint detail on the tip. I'm liking it, man, and I'm liking the hawk painting on there. That looks really sharp overall. I'll put that one back down there. Now let's look at the tail surfaces here. Let me grab a vertical and a horizontal here. Vertical, super nice. Look at the detail on that. Again, you just plug this baby right into that slot right back there. One screw goes through there, and 2 screws, one through this hole and one through this hole, and your vertical is in place. That's it. You got to make your connection, of course, your rudder connection here, but that's it, folks. Glueless airplane. Nice detail on the pitot tubes. probably airspeed probes of some kind, ram air probes of any kind, of some kind, of course. Tongue and groove in the front. Just real nice. Rod horn linkage installed. And then there's your horizontal, folks. Nice big plastic doubler with a spar integrated into it that goes the full length. So this baby is rigid. Nice painted on the metal here. That's for the exhaust from the heat of the engine of the full scale airplane. But really nice quality, nice fit and finish all the way around. They did a really spectacular job. I'm down to put this together. Like I said, I think I'll slap this together for you guys and just show you how this goes on. So in fact, let me grab one of these drop tanks and let me grab one of these missiles here, show you how nice these are. These are not painted, they're just the bare foam, just to keep the weight down, the complexity and the cost down. And I think the actual drop tank actually goes on the outer panel, I think, and then I think the missiles go on the inside. But you can see how nice these are, very nicely finished. Again, not painted, you can paint them if you want to. Nice plastic fins, but they essentially just go right on here. You put it in place, see if we can see that. This is a challenge, doing it through the camera, and then you push it back. Same thing with the tank. I don't think I got that all the way on there. And then, let's see, we'll slide that back on. And that is it, folks. You see, that's how easy your ordnance is to put on and off. And you can fly with, you know, or without the ordnance, just kind of depending on whether you want it on there or not. We'll do flights of this thing with both of them on there. And then the ease of assembly of this thing, folks, is pretty easy to see with your bag of screws. You see, there's only a few screws to get this together and you're done. So I think we might do an assembly of this thing here rather than doing a separate entire video. And then there's your instructions. Phantom II, 80 millimeter. Let's run through here. You see all your parts that we just talked about. They do go into quick start information with rates, expo, center of gravity. They do talk about that, 180 to 190 millimeters back from the leading edge. About 3.5 minutes of flight time, or for the timer. They go into dimensions, and then they do talk about other things, computerized transmitter setup and all that kind of stuff. And they do talk about the tail installation and how easy that is. 2 screws, baby. And that thing is on there. That's going to be nice. It says using SAFE with a DX6 or 6E transmitter. So you will want to consult that if you have that, that transmitter. And then they also talk about here SAFE Select switch designation. They go through the whole thing. It's easy to assign one switch for that SAFE mechanism, which I don't really need SAFE, but I will set it up so it's in there. Vertical fin installation. Once again, folks, 3 screws. There it is. Your wing, your spar goes in, and you've got your 2 wing panels that go in right there after it with 2 screws each. And you're done. And then they go into putting on your ordnance if you want it. I'll probably fly mine without the ordnance first. And that's it. They show you plugging in everything and getting everything bound up, and they go into all the details. So there's the CG once again, 180 to 190 back from the leading edge. And that is it. They talk about binding. There's a binding instruction. So you got everything in here, folks. Everything you would need or everything you would want is pretty much right in the manual. So anyway, folks, this is so easy to put together. Like I said, this is a real simple thing that I'm going to do something a little different in this video. I'm actually going to assemble it for you. Let me go ahead and get it going here. We'll assemble it and show you how easy it is to put together. Okay, folks, with a little help from the Cruise-In airplane holder. John Zinn is an American who makes these things, so if you want to check these out, it's at cruisein.com. It's really good for low altitude work like this, where you need the airplane kind of close to the tabletop, or in this case, close to the ground. It's just perfect for kind of getting everything together, and I'm going to show you here in the video how nicely this stand works. But I think the Cruise-In guys have been probably slowed down due to COVID-19, but they'll be probably back into production here pretty soon. But anyway, you just take your screws out of the box. This is how easy this thing is to assemble. Take your screws out of the bag, and the first step we're going to do is really just put the vertical stabilizer on. And you can see here, all you do is make your connection here. There is a piece of double-sided tape you can see right here, because I think they intend for you to just attach this to the bottom of your vertical so it doesn't move around, it doesn't get caught, which you don't want it to get caught in the stabilizer mechanism there, because you do have the pitch control rod in there for your elevator. But essentially what you do is you tug and groove this thing down in here, and then you go ahead and you slide everything down into place. It is a little bit of a tight fit, so you're going to kind of you're going to squeeze it down in there into place, and then you're going to take a 20mm screw. That's all it is. I'm just going to stick it here into the side of this thing, and then you're going to go ahead and take your 2mm metric, and you're just going to tighten that up. It'll thread into the other side. I can feel those threads biting. And then there's only two 16mm 2mm screws. One goes on this side, one goes on this side, and then you tighten those down. Now that tape that I had on the inside, I'm going to pull this off here a little later. I'll just go back in there when I have time to peel that off and secure it right. I'm really just doing this for the ease of assembly portion, just to show y'all how simple this is to actually assemble and disassemble. So, and that's it. Once you get those tightened down, everything's going into metal threads. That's it. Your vertical is in place and ready to go. So now I'm going to flip this upside down, and I'm going to go ahead with the horizontals. Let me move this a little bit. Horizontal stabilizers are so simple. This is my first time assembling this, folks. I haven't really done this before. The nice thing to know is that there is, and let me show you how this works. There is a flat spot on here. There's two flats on here, so you can't mess this up. It's kind of idiot proof, and there's flat on the top and the bottom of this thing. So you're going to push this thing into place, and it's all going to line up real nice. And there's simply two 10mm screws, same 2mm. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put those down in there. They're going to thread nicely into that nice double flat spotted metal axle shaft there that this thing all goes into. So I'll put that back down in there. These will go in there. They're threading in really nicely, and that's it. Your horizontal stabilizers. You want to tighten those on, make sure they're on there correctly, and then you got your wing. That's it. You take your fiberglass rod there, your fiberglass wing spar. You got your plugins like we just talked about. They're right here. Everything's made here. And there's your hole for your spar. So we'll go ahead and we'll put the spar tube into the receiver tube. We're going to plug that in, and as we push these in, all your connections are made back here. Then we're going to take your main wing panel, and we're going to go ahead and put that on the front here. Let's get this in place. Go ahead and attach those, and as you press it in, all your connections are made, and that is it. There's 4 remaining screws. They're 20mm. We're just going to take those. We're going to put these in here. This is really impressive, folks. I have not really done this yet. This is sort of not really, this is not a dry run. I just slapped this together, and we're doing it for you sort of real time, just to show you how simple it is. And then once you get everything together, you'll bind everything up, and get the landing gear down and trim and tune everything. You can see how nice these grab into there. Let's see if we can get this one in place. Yep, that's biting. They're all biting pretty nicely and going in. Just takes a little time to get them all in there. Nice tight fit all the way around. And then really the last part of assembly, once you get this in there, tighten that up a little bit, just show you guys real time about how long it really takes to assemble this. Again, this is just speedy, just to show you how quick it is to get everything together. And then when you get your ordnance on, you have a little latch mechanism here for your center tank, your main tanks here, and then your missiles right here. So really they go on just that simple, sliding back. Let's see, we'll get this one. I don't think they're side specific. I think they just kind of go on however whichever order you want to put them in. And you don't need these to fly. This is just, you can fly with them or without them. That's the nice thing about them. They come on and off real easy. Advantages to these is, if you have your missiles on, more drag, less time to fly probably because you're using more thrust, but the plane also slows down better. That's the nice thing about having them on. When it's off, the plane's going to be faster, less drag, but harder to slow down as well. So longer flight time as well. So, and folks, that is about it for assembling this thing. That is it. The thing is completely together. Now let's get it bound up, and let's get the landing gear down, and we'll just take a quick look at that. Now, prior to binding, I decided to make a few just adjustments inside the canopy area. Everything here is all set up. You don't really need to do much in here, but I like to have my antennas a little tidier, so they're, you know, I minimize signal loss by taking this front antenna and taping it down using some 3M Blenderm tape. I'll put a link below the video for that, where you can get that at Amazon. I'll put that in my Amazon store as well. And then this side antenna was kind of all bunched up, so what I did is I took a little spike here and I went ahead and stuck a hole down in the side, and you can see how, you know, it kind of pulls out of there. I went ahead and stuck it in there and just basically straightened it out, so I have these perpendicular to each other. That minimizes signal loss, and it also kind of just makes it look a whole lot neater. And then I went ahead and took my my Velcro right here that was down here on the battery compartment floor, and I went ahead and removed that, just peeled it off carefully so you don't tear up the wood down there. And then taking some double-sided Scotch tape and some shelf liner, you can see right here I just made a floor out of this spongy shelf liner. What this is going to do is it's going to make the battery more secure. I'm not going to have to worry really about the battery slipping on it, because when this stuff hits the shelf liner, it's really tacky. It won't move. And I save some space. When you have Velcro on the floor and you have Velcro on your battery, it makes the battery stand up just a little bit higher, and by doing this you have a really nice grippy floor and you save some space. So I'll go ahead and I'll just tape this on down to the bottom. You can see here, after putting your battery floor down in here, you can go ahead and you can cut the slot out using a hobby knife. Now you want to make sure there's just no wires behind it, and be careful you don't cut through it. And there weren't any right here, so essentially this is all you do after you've had your battery, after you've had your, or after you've put the shelf liner down with the double-sided Scotch tape, using the wood down below as a guide, and again not cutting into the wires down below, which I already know there aren't any down there, and you can see through the tape. I just really cut around this whole thing very carefully. Again, the wood is being used as the guide. The knife really isn't going to cut into it. You just kind of run the knife blade just sort of around the edge here. This is how I make all my battery floors when I put shelf liner in there, and you can see you can just pull that right up, and it makes a really nice battery floor without with giving you access down below, so you can get into those wires and move them around. And again, we save some space in here by getting rid of the Velcro, and we now have a sticky battery floor. The next step is to just essentially bind your radio or your transmitter and your receiver together. Essentially what I did is I just selected a new model memory. This is model memory 40. I went ahead and labeled it so I don't get it confused. Then you go ahead and just turn that thing off. And looking at the instruction manual, there's really two ways to bind this thing. You can either do it with Safe Select on or Safe Select off. There's essentially no difference between the two. The binding procedure is a little bit different, but the only difference is that this allows you to assign a switch, which is like 2 pages back, to that Safe Select wing leveling and pitch leveling mode, so you have that additional feature. Either way, you still get the flight stabilization. This just allows you to assign a switch for that. So the way you go about doing that is you go ahead and you insert your bind plug, which I did already in here, and you go ahead and you plug your battery in, and you want to have the airplane level. You'll get a series of tones. And then once those tones are done, you're going to go ahead and you're going to take your bind plug, and you're going to pull that out, and then I'm going to stand aside, because you're supposed to stand a few feet away, and I'm going to go ahead and press the bind button on my transmitter, and I'm going to turn it on without pointing the antenna towards it.
DSMX 22 milliseconds. Telemetry. Bind complete.
So the bind is now complete, and we should have a constant light, which it is obviously giving us, and it's running through a flight control setup mode, where all the flight controls move a little bit, and that's it. The steady light indicates that we're bound up, and now we can go ahead and check some of our flight controls, make sure everything's working, and it looks like we have everything set up, and now we can get the rest of the airplane set up. Now that our bind procedure is complete for switching on Safe Select, we're actually going to go backwards 2 pages into the manual, and we're going to go to where it says Safe Select Switch Designation. The text for it is right here, but essentially all you need to do is what it shows you right here. You move your sticks to the lower corners, and whatever switch you want to assign to activate that Safe Select on and off, you're going to toggle it 5 times. So essentially all you have to do is take in your transmitter, so I'm going to grab right here from behind me. We're going to go ahead and we're going to hold the 2 of these into the corners, and this is the switch I'm going to assign it to, so we're going to move it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you hear the flight controls jitter a bit. That means it has assigned it to this switch now. So now I can activate Safe Select through this switch. So I can fly around normally, you know, using the AS3X system to stabilize the airplane. And if I want to activate Safe Select, I basically just move this switch and it activates that wing leveling mode, pitch leveling mode, and then I can come out of it again. So honestly, I'm not sure which way that it has assigned it actually, but I'll figure that out once we get out to the field and we'll talk about which way that actually assigns it to. But it's as simple as that. If you want to reassign it to a different switch, you run through the same procedure. You put your sticks in, pick which switch you want to assign it to, and you toggle it up and down 5 times and you're all set. Now, one of the nicest things about these E-flite airplanes is they already have all the setup stuff. So they have a computerized transmitter setup guide here for all different radios. I'm using a DX9. They show you how to set your rates, and with the AS3X you can only set a high and a low and not a mid. So 100 for high, 70 for low, and then you go ahead and you pick which radio you have over here. I just happen to be using a DX9 again here. So it talks about go to system setup, which I already did, model utilities. I named an airplane. We did that already, as you saw earlier. And then you go ahead and set up one wing, one flap, which I had already done. And then it says go to the function list, servo setup. I didn't have to reverse the gear on mine. Mine was working fine the way that I like it on the switch I like it on. And then the flap system. They have this all programmed. I went ahead and I set that up exactly the way. In fact, that's normally how I do it with a speed of 2. And I went ahead and I set those things up, and you can see that right here in the radio when you go to flap system menu. And this is how I'm going to fly it the first time out. So you can see I set up everything really exactly the way that the manual says right here. You can see the 2 are set up like that. To 2 seconds. I use switch D, they use switch D too, so it's kind of nice that we're all kind of on the same page, which is pretty cool. Now, one of the last parts of setting up your airplane is setting up your throws. I'm going to go ahead and use these throws for aileron, elevator, rudder, and flap travel. And you just want to go ahead and just using a ruler, just set those up so the travel is the same. I'm going to go ahead and set mine up that way and see how that works out when we fly it. And then finally, once you get your battery in position, you can go ahead and check your CG. And depending on the weight of your battery, if you're using a bigger battery or a smaller battery, it'll determine on how far forward or back that's going to have to, your battery's going to have to be in there to meet that 180 to 190. So I'll talk about this more when we fly the airplane actually, and I'll get into it then during the flight demo. Now that the airplane is fully set up and ready to go, I thought I'd show you guys the landing gear. Go ahead and we'll extend those out, and we'll take a look at the nose strut. You can see it's got some pretty nice landing lights on it. I'll see if I can point that towards the camera. You can see how nice and bright they are. Landing gear is super nice. It has really good compression all the way around. As I go over to one of the main gears, let's kind of zoom in on that, and we'll see how that looks. Really nice compression all the way around. Also, anywhere that you do have E-rings anywhere on the airplane, like here, and probably on the other side, and then all the way around. And then I think there's actually some also. There's an E-ring. Let me see if I can zoom in on one of the other wheels. There is an E-ring right here holding that axle on. Just as a recommendation, folks, it's always a good idea to put just a little tiny bit of foam tack on there. Foam tack is going to make sure that those E-rings stay in place and don't come off. So here it is, folks. I always do that to all my airplanes anywhere where there is an E-ring, and that makes sure that you do not lose it. So we'll cycle that gear up once again, and you can see how nice it works just right out of the box. It's a pretty slick landing gear all the way around. Okay, folks, that pretty much concludes this video on E-flite's 80mm F-4 Phantom jet. So far, highly recommended. It is a sweet airplane, very easy to assemble, very easy to set up, as you can see. 2 things I want to note. One is a correction. I did notice that the optional scale external stores installation is side specific. The center tank goes on, but normally, right in the center obviously, but your two side tanks and your missiles. They do have the wing has a slight dihedral, so they do have a very slight angle, and it's very hard to tell when you're looking at them. I don't think it's a game ender if you had them on backwards or anything, but just so you know, they are side specific. And if I had one complaint at all, which I'm going to sort of point out right here to everybody, is that, and it's not a huge deal, but it is very important, my battery straps seem to be a little bit short. Like there wasn't a whole lot of Velcro that they attached to that you can see right here. So I am going to replace those actually with just some that are slightly longer, maybe another inch or so I can really get that battery strap, battery tied down. If you run into this issue, contact Horizon and just let them know, and I'm sure that they will handle it. So, but anyway, as you can see here, really nice model all the way around. I'm going to flip this so you guys can once again see the underside and how nice this airplane is. Very easy to put together, very easy to set up, and if it flies just as well, it's going to be just a serious winner. So can't wait to get this out to the flying field. Stay tuned, folks. In the upper right hand corner, I'll be putting some flying videos out, and I'll put those here as soon as I get those done. Stay tuned to RC Informer to see all that. Once again, if you guys choose to get this thing, and if you do get one, please use my links below. It does support our channel. If you click on those links, add it to your cart and purchase, we do get a little commission for it. We do appreciate that support. Please like and subscribe, guys. Click that notification bell in the lower right hand corner, and that ensures that you guys get the latest videos that come out. And I'm dying to get this thing out here, and we'll see if it's the best handling Phantom out there. So anyway, folks, I appreciate you watching this video on the E-flite Phantom. I appreciate everything. Thanks for watching RC Informer, folks, and as always, we'll see you next time.